And we will start with the Puja. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panati pata viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinna dana viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu miccachara viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musawada viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya Majjapama Dattana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And now to welcome this wonderful year, New Year 2022, we'll do a bit of loving kindness to bless everyone, to also empower ourselves with some happy thoughts. Let us begin with ourselves with some very positive words, such as, may I be well, may I be well. You're telling yourself to be well. Say those words a couple of times, then silently feel it. And inner smile. You can smile outwardly also, but just important thing is to smile within. It helps you to focus better. Say those words slowly, like instructing yourself to be well. May I be happy. May I be happy. Say those words a couple of times, and then silently feel happy in body and mind, and smile. May I be at peace with myself. May I be at peace with myself. I accept myself just as I am. I accept myself just as I am. You can add your own happy words, but you just need to use only 2 or 3 sentences. Don't do too many, just 2 or 3 which you like. Repeat them to feel happy, peaceful. Repeat those words as often as you like. Smile. Now picture your best friend, the closest person to you, someone still living, still alive, a relative, a friend, or a teacher who's always there for you. This person is always happy, smiling. Picture this person sitting in front of you or beside you. If you can't picture him or her, use the name. Connect with this person by mentioning the name, as if you're talking to this person on the phone. And tell this person the same happy words. May you be well. May you be well. Mention the name. And smile. May you be happy. May you be happy. Say the words 2-3 times, and then silently send it out, like you're sending this wonderful message to this friend, and smile. May you be at peace with yourself. May you be at peace with yourself. I accept you just as you are. I accept you just as you are. To your best friend, closest friend. And now visualize a beautiful white lotus flower in the center of your heart. This lotus flower is blossoming, is opening up, and it is shining bright and radiant like the sun, brighter than the sun. This is your loving kindness coming from your heart. This brightness is shining from your heart, brightening up your body and mind. And this bright light is shining outwards, brightening everything around you, shining on this wonderful person and all the beings around you. It's the time to shine your loving kindness to everyone in the house, in the building, wherever you are. First, your own home, to the people who are there, your loved ones, and people staying there, wishing them well and happy with each other. Even your pets and animals, may they be well and happy. Your own practice, you extend this brightness all around, increasing the perimeter of the brightness, like the sun rising in the morning, brightening more and more of the world with the light and warmth. So send out the brightness of your loving kindness to all the places around nearby, the whole town, city, and so on. Wherever you are. And as you do that, you can recall some people you know living in those areas randomly, and wishing them well and happy. Picture them happy, smiling at them. Now, this very special action, direct your loving kindness to everyone before you on the screen, worldwide. Let us share our loving kindness with each other, as I am sending to you personally my loving kindness right now. May you be well. May you be well. And smile in your heart. May you be happy. May you be happy. May you be safe and strong wherever you are, wherever you go. May you be at peace with yourself. Repeat those happy words to everyone we are connected with now in this class all over the world. May this new year bring you greater strength and wisdom and peace of mind and joy and good health. Wherever you go, may you bring peace and kindness. May people feel joyful to see you. May you be calm and clear-minded no matter what the situation is around you. Now in the Last and most important stage in our meditation, breaking the barriers. We send out our loving kindness without any barriers, without any limits, unconditionally, immeasurably, throughout the universe. That is our mind, beginning with the front directions. May all the beings in the front directions be well and happy. Shine the brightness of the loving kindness in your heart frontwards to all the beings. And smile. May all the beings in the directions to the right be well and happy. May all the beings in the directions at the back be well and happy. May all the beings in the directions to the left be well and happy. May all the beings in the directions below be well and happy. May all the beings in the directions above be well and happy. All the beings everywhere be well and happy. May I be well and happy. And now bring back all the brightness that is shining out there back into your heart. This is a way of reminding us where the loving kindness comes from your heart. And the lotus petals are closing, but it is still, the lotus is still radiant and bright. Its brightness is always there in your heart. Remember this to help you in your future meditations. Or whenever you are down, whenever you have emotional difficulties, remember this beautiful bright light. Whenever you see bright light, to remember loving kindness. And now we review our practice. Remember the peaceful moment, even for a very brief moment, you felt good and happy. Remember this, it will help you in your future sittings and help you to be happy. Also remember any difficulties you face, distractions, so that you are better prepared in your future sittings, future meditations. Review your practice. Now, before we end, just open your eyes and just sit for a short while to settle down, prepare ourselves for the class. We begin our meditation slowly, gently, and we end our meditation slowly, gently. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, now we will begin with our class. Okay, that's wonderful. Right, so this is our first lesson of the year, and it's the last of the 8 limbs of the Eightfold Path. But it's not finished yet because we're not awakened yet. So the Eightfold Path is the path, and then you have the destination, right? So actually you have 2 more limbs, but they're not called the Eightfold Path, they're called the 10 Rightness. Okay, so those 2 we'll probably do in 1 lesson. We'll see how. And today we'll look at the last of the Eightfold Path. But before that, let's have an overview, especially if you have just joined us. Let's look at the diagram again. Now let me wake up the computer. Okay. All right, there you are. Okay, so imagine there's this pyramid, okay? And we divide the 3 trainings into 3 levels. Just an idea, graphic idea to present us. We're talking about the 3 trainings. So if you are Buddhist, we go through 3 trainings. Now these 3 trainings, they are parallel trainings. Of course, they also become progressively better and better, okay? So they go in 3 lines. At the same time, they also go upwards. In fact, imagine this pyramid is like a spiral. So it's like a spiral pathway upwards, if you like. So we train ourselves. First thing we train is what's called moral virtue, sila. Sila means moral virtue, or moral training, or moral conduct. Sikha means training. Okay. Sometimes sila by itself can also mean moral training. Okay. But sila sikha. Sikha is Pali, meaning training. Right. And as you all know, in the precepts, we refine our bodily action and our speech. Right? You can see that reflected in factors or limbs 3, 4, 5 of the Eightfold Path. Right speech, right action, right livelihood, which we have spoken about in the past lessons. And notice this moral virtue is the basis. So you really need this refinement of body and speech for meditation to work. That is the 2nd level, more or less, yeah? Training in concentration. The word concentration comes from samadhi. Samadhi, sometimes teachers will use the word samadhi itself without translation because samadhi has become an English word. Mental focus, okay? Now remember that all these words have many meanings. They are used by other Indian religions also. But here in the Buddhist sense, it means mental concentration. We're going to talk about this tonight. And then you have Sikha, again, training in concentration or meditation. Okay, and this second level of training, again, there are also 3 limbs or 3 factors: right effort, right mindfulness, and there you are. You notice highlighted number 8, right concentration, samadhi. And this is what we're going to talk about for the rest of the evening. Oh yes, you have the word khanda. Khanda kind of means aggregate. Remember the 5 aggregates? So here, khanda also refers to tree trunk, for example. So in other words, it is very strong, like a limb or this tree trunk supports the tree. So it also means aggregate, collection. So each of this training also is like that. It's a collection of 3 practices each. And then with our body and speech refined, our mind cultivated, wisdom arises, right? And that's called panya, wisdom, panya. Wisdom is not just knowledge. Wisdom is you know something, you know what to do with it, you know how to use it to better yourself. So it's called panya. And you have only 2 factors here, 2 limbs: right view, right intention. Notice right view is number 1. And remember in our first talk I mentioned something, that right view is number 1 because right view underlies, it's at the root of all the other 7 factors, 7 limbs. Okay, so now we're going to look at number 8, right concentration, in a moment. Now, when we talk about meditation, one simple way is we're talking about freeing the mind from the body, right? So you can see the references here, 1016 on the Eightfold Path, section 812. You can see 8 is already the 8th factor, right? So the chapters are numbered according to the 8 factors. And you can also look at 8.4 on meditation and jhanas. So we begin with the body, right? This body is very active. It's got all the senses and it's processed so many things. And then this, because we have to process all these things, our mind goes out 5 ways, and then plus the mind itself, so it goes out 6 ways, and that becomes very distracting for us. It becomes hindrances to our meditation. We look at this a little more detail in a moment. Then as we meditate and our mind becomes more free of the body, the 5 mental hindrances, then we free ourselves from thoughts, from views in our meditation. So that's a higher level. Okay, so freeing the mind, freeing the body first, and freeing the mind, and then you get into samadhi. Samadhi means the mind at one with itself, the mind at peace with itself, unified. Okay, so what are the 5 hindrances? What prevents us from getting this focus, this samadhi? First is sensual desire. Sensual desire here means we are distracted, we are carried away by what we see as pleasant through our senses: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. Okay. In other words, they're actually thoughts, right? We see something and we think about it. We say, oh, very nice, I want this. And then we hear something, and oh, it's very nice, I want this, and so on. So that's called sensual desire, right? Because it comes to the senses. And our mind run here, run there in 5 or 6 directions, so you stop focus. So this is the first one we're going to overcome. That is why when we meditate, we close our eyes, we sit quietly in a quiet place, so you don't get distracted. So that sensual desire does not arise. We don't get pulled out in 5 ways. Then comes the opposite. Number 2 is the opposite, ill will. The first hindrance is, you get drawn to things that you like. And then number 2 is there are other things you don't like. Oh, I don't like that sound. And you feel very angry, very upset with it. I don't like this what I see, and so on. What I smell, and so on, right? So this ill will, this dislike also arises. So this opposite, yeah. Very often, this 1 and 2, they together they form a shorthand. They form a summary of all the 5 hindrances. In the Satipatthana Sutta, for example, these two are mentioned to represent all the 5 mental hindrances. Then we come another pair, okay? Next one is sloth and torpor. If you get caught up in this sensual desire and then the things that you don't like, you like something, you pull it towards you, you don't like, you push it away, that's 1 and 2. And you become tired, mentally and physically even. Sloth and torpor arises, yeah? In one simple way to understand this is your body feels tired, feels sleepy, and then you also mentally feel tired and bored and so on. And when this happens, after a while, you want to get up, you feel restless. Of course, normally the teachers will explain restless as you're thinking about the past. Oh, you know, something happened and you recall this, recall that, and then you feel uneasy. That's thinking about the past. Of course, restlessness has different meanings. Yeah, if in other situations, like the fetters restlessness, he is more like if you're full of compassion, also you have restlessness, but that is a different kind of restlessness. So don't mix that one. That, in a sense, we can say that's good restlessness, if you're right, but this is bad restlessness. And there is worry, right? Worry is when you start thinking about the future, okay? So this is one way of looking at it. Another way is when you look at the past, you worry. You say, oh dear, what have I done? And, you know, I've done something wrong and so on. That is why loving kindness is very important. So you don't worry. You think about the past and you start worrying. So that's another way of looking at it, right? So that's why we have to let go of the past, right? And next, and this year, we're going to study a special sutta, Bhattir Karata Sutta, which talks about letting go of the past. And also, if you think of the future, you become restless. Okay, so you can think of that way too. If you start saying, okay, what should I do after my meditation? And then you want to get up and do it, so you become restless. So you get caught with this idea of wanting to do something. You're not meditating, you're thinking. So restlessness in this case is you're lost in thoughts about the past, and then the worry is when you start. I'm sorry, restlessness is you start thinking about the future, and then worry is, in this case, you think about the past. Okay. Either way, restlessness and worry can arise, so we don't want that. Now imagine we are troubled by all these 4, or any one of them, right? Then you start having doubts. Oh, I can't meditate. Why can't I meditate? You start thinking of all these things, right? One reason we have a lot of doubts is because we don't have proper instructions in meditation. We never follow the instructions properly. So it's good to find out what to do, what not to do, proper conditions of meditation, things like that, right? So doubt can be quite troubling. So section 32.1 gives you all the details on the 5 mental hindrances, okay? Now in meditation, you learn a lot of new things about yourself, right? So this is where when we talk about meditation, especially deep meditation, we also talk about learning new things. So this is where we talk about 3 kinds of knowledge, or 3 kinds of wisdom, as it is called in Pali, Panya. How do we know things, in the sense of how do we accumulate knowledge, wisdom? How do we learn things? The first here is thinking. We think about it, okay? Whether people can read books or not, they think. And they start thinking through their experience. That's called knowledge to thinking. Broadly, we can say this is philosophical knowledge, especially people who are educated. Philosophical in a broad sense. Notice the Pali word is cinta, maya, panya. Okay? Cinta means of the mind. Okay? Now this is very interesting because in Pali and Sanskrit, that's what it means. But when it came to Southeast Asia, it became very specialized. It became love. So in Malay, Indonesian, Cinta means love. But the old meaning simply means thinking. Of course, it includes love. No? Maya means made. Okay. And then Panya, wisdom. Okay. Wisdom arising through thinking. You think about something and then you come to certain conclusions. So this is the first kind of knowledge. We could be right, we could be wrong. Okay. Sometimes knowledge through thinking is very good. When say you read suttas and you think about it, you feel happy. And also negative knowledge which you don't want, which makes you feel unhappy, fearful, and so on. So this is knowledge through thinking. We could be wrong. That is why we are often warned about this. So this is the first very personal knowledge. Number two is this is something very common when we meet people. Wisdom through listening, through hearing. Right, so this is very broad. Whatever we hear from people, from the news, from mass media, computers, that's included too. In other words, here includes reading, by the way, because listening is the old, we use in the old Pali language, right? Sutta, Maya, Panya. Sutta, notice one T. Ne? Sutta means that which is heard, coming through hearing, wisdom arising from hearing. So here we can call it academic knowledge. We learn from others. Now what's interesting is we can say this is first-hand knowledge, although sometimes it's not accurate. This is second-hand knowledge, third-hand knowledge, if you like, okay, through listening. In fact, most of the things we know come from listening. Now notice these are the same color. There's no color actually, but the most important one is this one, number 3. Wisdom through cultivation. Now, cultivation here has a special meaning. The word cultivation here in Pali is bhavana. Okay, there's a line over the A which is missing here, right? You see, this is where it's very interesting. So you can look over it before we present it on screen. We don't notice the background is called a background, this line here. So this should be here also. Bhavana, okay? Cultivation. Bhava means existence. Here, bhavana means cultivation. It includes meditation. There's a whole article I've written on bhavana, on meditation in general. Bhavana maya panya, meditation you gain from cultivation. This is, we can call this insight knowledge, because this is the kind of knowledge that lets you see into, through things, to see through reality. This is the true first-hand knowledge. This is kind of use, this wisdom through thinking also first-hand, but not very accurate. This is more accurate, not 100% accurate, but more accurate, because we also can mistake our meditation experiences. That's why we need teachers, we need to study the sutta, and over time, when we put them all together, the ideas become clearer, okay? So this is wisdom through cultivation. So these are the 3 knowledges, 3 wisdom, through thinking, listening, cultivation, okay? Now, samadhi, there are our mental concentration, our deep focus are of 2 kinds, mundane, supramundane. The word mund here is Latin, it means world, the world, okay? El mundo, for example, Spanish, no? The world, all right? So the kind of meditation we are doing now is called mundane concentration because we have not reached the path. We are not streamliners, at least not yet. Right? So we call it mundane. We have not reached the path. That's the meaning. But we start there. That's where we start. And it still brings us joy, peace, some clarity felt by the unawakened. That's us for the moment. Okay, but we're heading in that direction. Okay. Then there is the supramundane. Supramundane concentration here. This joy, peace, and clarity on the higher level of the path. The Eightfold Path here. The Eightfold Path, the supramundane Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path of the stream winner onward. Stream winner, once returner, non-returner, the Arhat. So that's the difference. So we start from where we are. So these are two terms. Mundane lokiya, from loka. Lokiya is the adjective. And then supramundane lokuttara. Okay, loka plus uttara, beyond the world. Okay, supramundane lokuttara. Now we come to the jhanas. The jhanas are very deep meditation. They come when you start meditating, and then the hindrances are overcome. Your mind is totally free from the body, and then you get into this very deep focus where you don't feel the body anymore. You're totally joyful. That's called dhyana. Okay, and you can read about this in 1016, section 831. So the first jhana is defined in this way. The first line of the standard definition says, quite detached from sense objects, detached from unwholesome mental states. So it's talking about the mind here. The Buddha is talking about the mind. The detached means let go, renounce sense objects. So notice here, sense objects refer to the five senses, right? So very often you see little words like that, but they represent a lot of things. Sense objects, what the eye sees, what the ear hears, what the nose smells, what the body feels, what the tongue tastes, right? You let go of all that. Okay? Detached from unwholesome mental states. Notice this is the mind. The mind does not have any negative thoughts. Some positive thoughts does come, but no negative thoughts. Body and mind are free from, the body is free from all thoughts, the mind free from negative thoughts. He enters and dwells in the first dhyana. Okay, dhyana is actually originally a Sanskrit word, and it has a macron, a line over this middle A here, and it is found in English dictionary, so I use it as an English word here. Pali is jhana, Jhana. So this is the first jhana. It has got 5 factors. Okay, these are the first 2 factors, accompanied by initial application and sustained application. It's quite awkward translation here, but this is the best we can, or I think this is good, because it also explains the term. Vitakka, vichara. Vitakka sometimes simply means thought. In daily life, it is called thought, thinking, initial application. Vichara is sustained application. Vichara in Malay becomes bicara, but the meaning has changed. It means to go for a court case. So a lot of talking in the court, right? So that's what bichara means. But vichara means the thinking continues. So initial application here means the mind directs itself to the object, right? There is still some thought, very little, but it directs the mind directs itself to the object. Initial, and then it stays there. You keep staying there, so that the mind doesn't wander. Okay, so that's what it means here. This mental effort to direct it to the object, keep it there. Initial, sustain. That's why this translation is helpful. For vitakka, vichara, you can see all these Pali words in the SD 10.16. Now we have 3 more, what I call dhyana-factors, okay? Accompanied by zest and joy. So even when you do this at the first level of jhana, there is this very powerful, exuberant zest. This joy is so bubbly and energizing. It's called zest. Okay. Now, this zest is not difficult to get, you know, it's pity. For example, a mother cooking happily for a son who's gone overseas for a long time and coming back. Now mother's very happy, mother cooks, and then got burned a little bit. She's still happy, no problem. Put some burn oil on her, she's okay. She feels totally happy, you know. So no, very powerful sense of joy, zest, very exuberant, yeah. A pianist playing the music, very involved, very lost to the world, closed eyes, and beautiful music, right? So that also can happen through playing music. These are worldly experiences, but here it is in meditation. Okay, begins there. Now joy is sukha. Okay, joy is sukha. This one is a more calm, a calm version of it, if you like. Body and mind become more peaceful. And this is born of solitude, born of solitude, okay? Here it means, it's very similar to these first two lines, born of solitude. Solitude here refers to a kind of social distancing, to use a popular phrase nowadays. In other words, this solitude is, you are distancing yourself from all other senses, okay? It's a physical kind of solitude. You can also extend this to you go away from the crowd. You're sitting quietly in a beautiful nature or in your room, or some quiet place, right? So this first jhana arises from this bodily, this solitude, free from the five senses, free from the crowd. All right, and solitude also means mental solitude. In fact, you can use these two words. This is bodily solitude. This is mental solitude. That's another way of looking at it. Bodily solitude is free from sense objects, and then mental solitude is free from negative mental states. So, of course, we can also talk about born of solitude here as meaning you, for the moment, you know, all the defilements, those negative qualities are absent. They don't trouble you for that moment. You're free from acquisitions. You don't think of, I want this, I want that. You feel so happy. You're satisfied with yourself. So this is what we can talk about on this level of deep meditation. You feel really happy and wonderful. So if the monk really meditates, that is why he lives a simple life, he doesn't need money, doesn't have a house, doesn't have property, he's happy just the way he is, and it's very wise, and he's a good teacher. He wanders about happily wherever he goes. As the sutta says, he's like a bird with two wings. The two wings are samatha, vipassana, and then he just kind of flies around just with the weight of the two wings. That's all. It's very happy. All right. So this is the beauty of the first jhana. Now, what about the second jhana? Okay, so here notice the first line says with the stilling. That means calming down, disappearance of initial application and sustained application. No more this little bit of subtle thinking or normal. See, usually in jhanas, thinking doesn't happen. The normal thinking doesn't happen. So this just slight away the working of the mind. So in the second jhana, it all goes away with the stilling of initial application and sustained application. Because your mind is already focused on the object, you don't need to direct it anymore there, in other words. By gaining inner tranquility and oneness of mind. See, this one inner already mentioned there, your kind of internal experience, and your mind is unified, no more of two minds, no more distracted. He enters and dwells in the second dhyana, free from initial application, sustained application. So notice kind of repetition. Here just telling you it's totally gone. It is because of this It's called the noble silence. So normally we apply this saying the noble silence to the second jhana. But zest and joy born of stillness is there. Remember just now earlier on we say born of concentration, if you remember, right? Here is born of stillness, samadhi. Previously, the mind is free from all the outside objects, sense objects. You don't have to, deal with them anymore. So your mind is free, right? You attain first jhana. It is in solitude. Remember, the word solitude also is used. But here it is born of stillness. So this zest and joy, in other words, become more refined. And you feel even more happy, joyful, all right? So this is second jhana. No more thinking, it's all gone. This is the big difference. These two factors are gone, okay? So there are only these three factors. Factors, okay? Anga, jhān'aṅga, or what's called the dhyana-factors. Now we come to the third jhana. Notice in the case of the jhana, there are less and less factors, okay? So here, we're going to let go of some more factors. It's just like we're going to hot air balloon, we're throwing the sandbag down so the balloon can float up and away. Now, with the fading away of zest, he dwells equanimous, mindful, and clearly knowing. This zestful, this bubbly joy settles down. It's not that he's less joyful. On the contrary, he's more joyful now, but of a very subtle nature. It's like you've eaten, you're full, and you're so happy. Settle down. That sukha now becomes very peaceful. All right, this very subtle, peaceful kind of joy, not the bubbly kind anymore. So in that sense, then your mind also becomes settled, equanimous, mindful and clearly knowing. Now, this is very interesting. See, your mind in deep meditation knows what's going on, but it's not the kind of knowledge that you and I have now. For example, it is said that if someone is in jhana, deep meditation, sitting down, and you should not be doing this, just an illustration. If you were to poke a pin into him, you won't feel anything. If there is a loud thunder, you won't hear a thing. He's in deep, very deep meditation. There are stories about the Buddha during this big thunderstorm in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, okay? So in this third dhyana, zest fades away. He experiences joy with the body. His body feels joyful and settled down. Joyful and settled down. And because of that settling, he enters into the third jhana, of which the noble ones declare, happily he dwells in equanimity and mindfulness. So now you see equanimity slowly coming in, this balanced-mindedness. Third jhana, okay? Third jhana knows us. No? Now, the fourth jhana. One more zest goes away. One more factor goes away. With the abandoning of joy and pain. Joy and pain. Physical joy, physical pain. With the earlier disappearance of pleasure and displeasure. Mental pleasure and displeasure. So bodily feelings, mental feelings of joy and pain are all gone. We're wondering, say, oh, how does this happen? You don't have feelings. How does this happen? Well, the mind becomes more refined. Okay, the worldly aspects are gone. So that's when he attains the fourth jhana, which is neither painful nor pleasant. Remember, neither painful nor pleasant. So we cannot say it's not pleasant. You can't say it is neither painful nor pleasant. Those words don't apply in that kind of level of meditation. With mindfulness fully purified by equanimity, by this balanced mindedness, totally calm. Sometimes it is represented by this beautiful round sphere, perfectly round globe on a flat plane. This beautiful mathematical symbolism. And this, because of the stillness, this globe, this metal globe, does not move at all, even though the ground is perfectly flat. Something like that, okay? Equanimity. Okay, so there you are. Those are the 4 jhanas. So next, I'm going to talk about the 5 jhana factors. What happens to the 4 jhanas as we progress to them, as we go deeper and deeper. So since this is a new topic and it's nearly 9 o'clock, I'm going to take a short break here, 5 minutes, and then we will come back. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Piya. We'll take a 5-minute break. Meanwhile, if you have any question, please type them in the chat box. Thank you.
Now I'm going to talk about the 5 dhyana factors, or jhān'aṅga. Jana is the Pali word for dhyana, plus anga. Anga means factor. It's also the same word for the eightfold path, anga, meaning the factors of the path. Okay, so now if you look at this list, there are 5 names here: vitaka, vichara, piti, sukha, and then there's this ekagata. I put in brackets. It is within brackets because this word is not directly mentioned in the sutta, but it's understood to this what it means. English translation, initial application, vitaka. Okay, taka itself means to think. In Malay, it's taka. Okay, but taka in Malay means to guess. So notice the meaning has changed. So here, taka also means to think. Vitaka is to think in a kind of split things up. You know, go on thinking vitaka, like in English, bisect, to cut into 2, and so on. And then vichara, okay, sustain application means to think and think and think again, vichara. Okay. And then zest is piti, with this very exuberant joy. And then sukha is the kind of a joy that is settling, and then one-pointedness of the mind. So these are the 5 aspects, 5 factors of the first dhyana. So this is very interesting. Remember, I often tell you about, in Buddhism, the key practice is renunciation, letting go. So you see this in meditation also. We start with 5. Now in the second jhana, you are left with 3. Okay, so now we're looking at another way through the factors. Second jhana, 2 factors are gone. They disappear. Okay, vitaka, vichara are no more there. No more thinking of any level. But there's still joy. There is this exuberant joy, there's this calm joy, and one-pointedness of the mind. Okay. Here, the word is solitude. The mind is at peace happily by itself. Okay. So second jhana, 2 of the factors are gone. The less factors. And the third jhana, 3 factors are gone. Piti also disappears. This exciting joy, exuberant joy is no more. The joy is more calm and peaceful and deeper. Okay, sukha, ekagata. All right. Well, you can guess what's the 4th jhana like. 4th jhana, the first 4 factors are gone. There's only ekagata, and here we have what's called equanimity. Okay, upekha, equanimity. Because it's not that there is no joy, there's no, this active joy is not there, but the mind is at peace with it, totally at peace with itself. So these are the jhana factors. Notice here the book is 8.4, no? 8.4 section 6, especially 602, right? There's a diagram there, this same diagram. Or just a note, remember, if you want, you can download from our website, or since you're in contact with us, you can get the latest version from us. So just quote this number, ask for it, we'll send it to you through the Telegram. Okay, now we come to something new. When we talk about meditation, we can talk about meditation as the jhana as meditation. We can also talk of jhana as a living experience. People who meditate and then they die, or they're very good, they habitually meditate, and when they die, they're reborn in those realms. Okay, so we're talking about the realms to which we are born. But before we talk about those realms, we're looking at an overview of the 31 planes of existences in Buddhism. The number 32, of course, is nirvana, but it's not included here. So we have what are called the three worlds. So notice here, the three worlds. The three worlds here refer to the sense world. Okay, so this is the first one, the world of the senses. We are dependent on senses. And then the second world is the jhana world. It's called the form world. And then the third one is the formless world, also jhana, but more refined. In fact, it's so refined we don't call it jhana anymore. It is called attainment, formless attainment. I'll talk about that when we come to the next 2 slides. Now, notice first of all here, there are 11 realms, okay? Okay, realms or worlds if you like, okay, 11. Now look at the dark colors first. Or before that, look at the yellow one, that's where we are, humans, we are human beings. It's number 5 here. The Pali word is manusa, okay. Sanskrit is manusha, okay, very close to Malay, manusa, manusya also, no? Humans. Now, here you see what's called is the lifespan. Human lifespan is variable. It can go a very long time, up to 100,000 years, according to the suttas, and it can shorten to even 10 years. Now you may wonder what's going on here. We're talking about relativity of time. When human lifespan is shortened to 10 years, the metabolic rate is faster. So the sutta says, Chakravarti Sihanada Sutta says that a woman of 5 years old is ready for marriage. So that's already a hint there, meaning the metabolism speeds up. So they're born and then they live short life because their metabolism is faster, and then they die. So the Buddhas won't appear at that time because life is too short. Okay, lifespan can last 100,000 years. It's really long. That's when the next Buddha, around the time of the next Buddha, human lifespan will be quite long. Okay, about under 100,000 years. So here you see CY, celestial years. That means it's not a normal human year. This one is the year in that heaven. Okay, I'll come to this in a moment. All right. So here's a human plane, the yellow color, and here we can practice the 10 causes of good karma. Practicing non-attachment, letting go, loving kindness, wisdom. This is the opposite of greed, hate, delusion. Okay, so when we practice this, it keeps us in the human world, or we can go higher to all these heavenly worlds. No? If we don't practice all this, in other words, breaking the precepts, then we fall into this subhuman planes. Now there are 4 subhuman planes. The asuras, these are the fierce titans. You can call them demons if you like. They like to fight. Okay, so they refer to beings who like to exploit others. So these are the asuras. And then there are the pretas. Pretas are the addictive ghosts. They are ever hungry, but they will never be able to satisfy themselves. And of course, there are the animals, often ignorant, fearful, all right, and then the hell beings, very violent, right? So these four realms, they represent certain negative qualities in us that's really overwhelming at that level. So in this case, it's violence, making use of others. Here is addiction, collecting things and then never really being happy about them. Animals are not wanting to learn, right? So simply eat and sleep, reproduce, things like that. Very animal kind of life. And hell beings are totally violent, very violent, killing, bombing, and so on. Okay. Now, this may be different states. Yeah, we know, for example, the animal world is out there. You have cats and dogs. Okay. But we can. What's more interesting is that psychologically, even now, we're born as humans, but our minds are not always humans. When we have greed, hate, delusion, the mind goes down to the subhuman plane. For example, you have a lot of greed, a lot of lust. Maybe it could be animal, it could be the asuras, yeah? Or if you have a lot of hate, it can be the hell beings, or even fierce animals, or it can be these asuras. Or if you have delusion, it characterizes the pretas who see things as present, but they can never have it. Animals also have delusion. They often see things wrongly, right? And so on. So even in this life itself, we have a human body, but we cultivate so that we have a human mind. That is why we keep the 5 precepts. The 5 precepts keep us on this level so we don't fall below, right? They call the descents. Then apaya, okay, downfall. This is where people who break the 10 causes of karma, they do a lot of unwholesome karma. So these are the details of the 5 precepts. For example, speech becomes 4 kinds of wrong speech and so on. So when you break the precepts, spurred by greed, hate, delusion, these are the realms that we get caught in, right? And very difficult to get out of this, right? So we don't want to fall here. That's why we want to attain stream winning, so that we don't fall below this state. All right. So as stream winners, even though we are born in the higher states, we will not fall after the karma is gone. We will not fall into the subhuman planes. That's what happens to the gods who do not practice. They do good karma and then they're reborn in the higher planes. But once the karma is finished, they go straight to hell. You notice the game called Snakes and Ladders? It's like that. You see, so the person can go very high up, nearing the goal, but then there's this big snake with a long tail, and it eats you up, and then the whole player goes down back to square one. Snake and Ladders actually was a Buddhist game invented to show the nature how samsara works, okay, how rebirth and karma works. On the other hand, if you do good deeds, then you have this other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 states, heavenly states. These are still in the sense world, by the way. Okay, these are, when we talk about heavens, normally this is what we refer to. Now you notice these 2, 6 and 7, they are blue color. These are the earthbound heavens. So you have the 4 great kings. These are the not so great, not so powerful gods. They're supposed to, like, they inhabit the 4 quarters, 4 directions of the world. Okay, and they're called Chatu Maharajika. Their lifespan is 500 world cycles. All right. Now, what is best known?
Yeah. Just now you said world cycle, 500 world cycle.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Celestial years. Sorry. Celestial years. Yeah. Here, heaven of 33. Tawa thinks 33. All right. And this is Lord Sakra. He's the leader here. In fact, Sakra is the leader of both this blue zone. Okay. He's also Lord of the four great kings. Because both of these are called earthbound heavens. They're very close to the earth, so to speak. All right. So, in terms of this celestial years, in Tawa Tingsa, for example, one half a day there, say let's say early morning to just past midday. All right. Sorry, the day itself. Okay. We can say 12 hours. Okay, from sunrise to sunset, and then you got night, right? So one day there is equal to about one human lifespan on Earth. So you work the ratio, 500 kinds of that kind of, wow, it's like 500 human lifetime, so to speak. Okay, so that's the meaning here, right? But then the other heavens, their time span is even higher still. They're in relative terms. So beyond the realm of Sakra, of the 33, the Yama gods were even more joyful. Their lifespan is longer, notice 2,000 celestial years. And then you have the contented gods, Tusita. And this is where the future Buddha is supposed to have his last birth, it is said, okay, 4,000 these celestial years. And then you have this interesting last pair of heavens. Number 10 is those who delight, no S, yeah, those who delight in creation, Nimanarati. They are like the creator gods, but there are many of them, and they live for 8,000 celestial years. Okay, so these are gods who are very powerful. They can mentally project, create whatever they want, right? And then you have on level 11, gods are even higher than number 10. These are para nimitta vasavati. See, vasavati means like powerful overlords, you know. Para means others. Nimitta, created by others. They control what the other gods create. So they don't have to do anything. They command the other gods to create for them. So we're talking about this kind of level of this heavenly life. Of course, you may wonder, wow, this is amazing, right? How did the Buddha know this? Through his meditation, the arahats also experience all this. I don't know exactly how to explain this. Why do they exist? But this kind of explanation is amazing, because if you look at all those space fiction, in the future, we probably might meet all these beings. They're coming from distant parts of the universe. And don't be surprised that they're actually familiar with Buddhism, because some of them have met the Buddha before. And they'll find Buddhism very meaningful, because, you know, the Buddha talks about impermanence, suffering, and non-self. It applies throughout all these worlds. But if you bring in the idea of God, belief, and so on, it becomes very primitive, right? So it's way out of the league of this kind of even if we call this mythology, meaning stories from the ancient scriptures. So this is something to think about for us to know in the future, right? So imagine in the future when we come into contact with aliens and space travel becomes even more developed. You can never know what next. You know, just like in 1511, the first Portuguese came to Malacca. The people of Malacca don't even know why these Portuguese look white, and the only people, the local Malacca people know is the Bengalis who have white beard, so they call these Portuguese the white Bengalis. So in other words, the Portuguese were aliens to the Malacca people in 1511. But then, of course, the Portuguese came to conquer Malacca. So we hope in the future that doesn't happen. They all come in peace, right? So anyway, that's for the future. Don't worry too much. So this is the sense world, okay? With the world dependent on the senses. Now we come to the next level of worlds. Okay, we're going to end here. This is number 10 already. The form dhyanas as realms. So these are the form worlds, right? So notice here, the first jhana world. There are 3 realms. They're called Brahmas, first jhana world. So you have here, this is the lowest kind of Brahma, then the second level, and then the great Brahma himself. It's only one of them. He lives on one world cycle. Ian is world cycle here. Here, the Brahma's ministers, half world cycle, and this Brahma retinue, quarter world cycle. These are different grades. Good, better, best, in other words, right? So this is great Brahma, first dhyana, right? Now on the second dhyana, you have, they are also technically also called Brahmas here, whereas the gods in the sensual are called Devas. Normally here we call Brahmas. Second dhyana, heavens, there are these three kind of gods. They are called limited radiance, boundless radiance, streaming radiance. So this shows the kind of brightness they exude, okay, which are brighter and brighter and stronger and stronger. And their lifespan also. These limited radiance gods, 2 eons, 2 world cycles. This boundless radiance, 4 world cycles, eons. And the streaming radiance, Abhasara, live for 8 eons, 8 world cycle. And you come to the third dhyana. Third dhyana, you have even more powerful gods, limited glory, boundless glory, radiant glory. These are just their names showing the strength of their brightness. And notice how long they live, 16 world cycles, 32 world cycles, 64 world cycles. Now, notice here, destruction of the physical universe. Although the physical universe is destroyed, apparently it can reach up to this level, to even the third jhana level. Of course, the gods will be reborn in other universes. So this is where, interestingly, the Buddha talks about other universes too. So even though ours is destroyed, there are other distant universes. So here, if the world can be, the universe, if destroyed by fire, well, the upper limits is up to the first jhana world. Of course, fire here means radiation and this kind of combustion. It's not the ordinary fire in the kitchen. It is what I call astronomical language, if you like, right? Or celestial language. And destroyed by fire, so that means things liquefy, you know, up to the second jhana world. And then when the world is destroyed by wind, here will be a kind of violent movement of the matter in the universe. The universe will be destroyed up to the third jhana. Okay, so this is found in the Visuddhimagga. Okay, this is something extra. Now, when it comes to the fourth jhana, you know, this is amazing here. The lifespan is very long. So here we have the gods of the Vihapala, abundant fruit. They live very long, 500 world cycles, right? But they still die, by the way, right? And so this is one group. Now we come to a very special group. This one, notice this color is different, yeah? Non-percipient attainment, asanya samapatti. These gods, their minds are empty. They have suspended thought. They are in like suspended animation, no consciousness, but they're not dead. It's just that they're in suspended animation, and they also live for 500 eons of world cycles. But all these 1, 2, 3, 4, they are mundane. They're still worldly. In other words, not attained even stream winning yet. Okay. Of course, there are beings who have attained stream winning. They can be reborn in this world, possible. But then they will be individually supramundane. Okay. Anyway, now we come to this where am I? All right, here we are back here. This group are very special, white color group. Notice it says supramundane fourth dhyana. These are all non-returnness. These are the pure abodes. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, they are the pure abodes. Suddha was the path of non-returning anagami magga. This is where the non-returners live. They are not a world like you imagine, like some planet. It is a realm of existence, some kind of time-space continuum. where these Sudavasa exists. And look at their lifespan, 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 4,000 years, 8,000 years, 16,000 years. And these are the different levels of those kinds of stream winners. So they can pass away at any level, and then they attain Arhathood Nirvana. Okay, but if not, they will progress upwards, and then Akanita is the highest they will go, and then they'll pass away, attain Arhathood. So these are all the non-returners. So this is the form world. And now we come to the last one. These are the formless dhyanas. And this one even more subtle. In other words, what we see as form are all gone. The deepest meditation, the highest meditation, the jhana, they even let go of that mental object. Then they reach a level what's called infinite space, where in their mind space is infinite. And their whole existence also is like that. Space is endless. And they live for 20,000 world cycles. These are called arupas because they do not have form. It is invisible. They're pure energy. So they don't contact the Buddha. They're kind of like, they're all world by themselves. Okay. And then there is this level where they even let go of space, of this object of space. Then there is infinite consciousness. Their consciousness has no end. It's a mental thing here. And the lifespan is 40,000 years. They're formless. And those who develop even higher meditation, they let go of this object of consciousness as infinite. There's nothing left because they let go of this mental object. So this is called the formless realm of nothingness, lifespan 60,000 years. Now we come to this really tricky level, very long name, Neva Sanyana Sanyayatana. This level, they let go even of this object of nothingness, totally no object of meditation at all. So we cannot say whether here perception means consciousness, whether there is perception or no perception. Very subtle. 84,000 years, a very, very long time. Okay. So the disadvantage here, none of this will see the Buddha because they are this very formless level, living in bliss a long time. So this is formless jhana. So these are the various levels the meditators can attain. So we come to the end now. Okay, just nice. And we've got half an hour for question time.
Thank you, Piya. Please stop sharing your screen. And
Okay.
everyone, please turn on your videos for the Q&A session. Today we have a sister, Isim, volunteer to take the Q&A session. Yeah. Thank you very much, Sister Isim. Over to you now.
Okay.
Thank you, Sister Ratna.
Yeah, Isim, please go ahead.
Thank you, Teacher Piya, for the teaching. Happy New Year, brothers and sisters. May you all be well and happy. Let me read out the first question from the chat box. It's from Sister Diane. She has two questions. Let me read out the first one first. When progressing from jhana to jhana, is it necessary to consciously make an effort to let go of certain aspects, like let go of joy to progress from the first jhana to the second, or does this happen naturally with prolonged meditation?
Okay, yeah. The simple answer is that it happens naturally. You cannot make it happen. It's like you're running a race, you know. You cannot always be sure that you'll finish in a certain time. You just do it and then the results will come by itself. So you cannot consciously do it, although sometimes you may, when your mind's very focused, certain aspects you may be able to push away distraction. Those are very special cases. But you know, to advance from one level to another, you simply let go. You keep on letting go. It's like falling asleep, right? The more you want to fall asleep, the more you think, the slower you sleep. So you want to sleep, just let go, think of nothing. Letting go, that's the magic word. Okay, so the stages of progress naturally.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Piya. The next question, the second question is, are the differences between the jhanas clear to the meditator? Like, is one usually aware that one is in first jhana, second jhana, etc.? Or is this something that one only realizes after the end of the meditation session?
You know, some of these meditators don't even know they have attained those levels because they never studied what those teachings are. That is why knowing the suttas are very helpful, because that's where the Buddha actually explains all these states in detail, all the terms and so on. Then if you are a meditator, whether you're Buddhist or not, when you read the suttas, you say, hey, I've experienced this. This is what I've experienced. So many of these people who are actual jhana meditators, they may not even know it is going on because they don't know the suttas. And they will have wrong views also, that's the thing, right? So they may think there's a soul or this is God and so on. So once they have that, then they will lose it, or it will not become right. They'll get stuck at that level. Yeah, so it's quite tricky. So in other words, when you do have jhana, you also have to practice right view in order to progress properly. So no, you will know it directly, unless you are trained in a special way where you know the suttas well and you have wisdom, and then you come out of it and then you reflect what's called by review knowledge. Then it's possible. That's how the Buddha knew, because the Buddha has wisdom also. So that's the difference of knowing the teaching. Then you know what's going on. It's just like, you know, an artist who's not trained by any teacher is able to paint, all right, but his technique may not be so good if he has a teacher. That's one way of putting it. Okay, let's go on.
Okay, thank you, Piya. The next question from Sister Ratna. To attain stream winning, do we need to practice jhana?
Simple answer is no, not necessary, but you need mindfulness. You must have some level of mindfulness to be able to stay focused, calm, because jhana is very deep, all right? The non-returners onwards, you need jhana. So once you're able to attain jhana, you have no more attraction for physical pleasure, physical things. So that's how you become non-returner upwards. Whereas for most of us human beings, unawakened beings, we still enjoy sensual pleasures. We have families, we eat good food, things like that. So these sensual pleasures will hold us back, but not too bad, because if you keep the 5 precepts, you're still safe. You can, there is in the Vacchagotta Sutta, I think, the last category of lay people, they're called the kamabhogi. Kamabhogi means those who enjoy sensual pleasures within the limits of the 5 precepts. That's basically like you and I. So we keep the 5 precepts. You practice meditation, you practice mindfulness, and then you vow, or you aspire to attain stream winning. That's possible. In fact, that's what we should do, because if you don't aspire to stream winning, then chances are it won't happen, see? All right, but of course, if you keep on keeping the 5 precepts and you, even though you don't aspire, but you keep practicing the way it should be done, it will come to you too. But aspiring to it helps, okay? All right, next question.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Piya. The next question from Sister Ratna. Can you elaborate on the difference between non-percipient and neither perception or non-perception?
Okay, the non-conscious beings, non-percipient, they don't know what's going on totally. Suspended animation. It's not very nice, not a very pleasant place to be reborn in anyway. Nothing happens. Suspended animation. Okay, you get into this deep suspended animation, but it is not that of an arahat, not that of a Buddha. Okay, So we don't call that cessation, right? Whereas neither perception nor non-perception is very subtle, right? And I'm not sure if I'm saying the right thing here. It is possible for them to maybe, if they want to assume a physical form, appear to the Buddha. I think that's possible. I've not read any stories about clear detail about this, but I feel because there's still some level of mind there, they can, if they want to, but it's very rare. Okay, so there's neither perception or non-perception. There is still some mind going on there, but very, very subtle, in other words. So it's not like the non-percipient. Non-percipient are totally non-conscious, even unconscious if you like. But we use the term non-conscious because they're not really dead, and they're not unconscious in the sense like, you know, we are fainted, although very close. So these are all very interesting ways that the Buddha has described to us these various possible levels of existence. Quite amazing. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Piya. The next question from Sister Diane.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard karma can only be accrued by beings in the human realm. Is this accurate? If
No.
so, how can beings in higher realms make progress?
Not true. Not just human realm. Wherever there's mind, it's possible for karma to be created. In the human world, we are more clear about our intentions. Whereas animal worlds, their intention is not so clear. They get so caught in a cycle, so they do things repeatedly. So in a sense, they do create some karma there, but they're caught in that cycle. And in the heavens, lower heavens too, those gods also can create new karma because they're still in the sense world. But in the form world, it's more like they're enjoying this holiday, you know. So there's this karma just there supporting them until the karma finishes and they fall from that state. In the case of the non-returners, they still meditate, all right? And so they can sometimes progress faster, or they will just finish off their life right up to Akanita, the highest level of the pure abodes for the non-returners. So in the form dhyana world, they still create karma in the case of the non-returners. Formless world, I think not, because they just kind of enjoy like a holiday, finishing off their good karma there. Okay, and after that, when those karma finish, they fall, they're reborn in a lower state. So it's not just human state, although human state is the most common. Remember the diagram just now, you talk about the 10 karmic actions, right? All right, next question. Okay,
thank you, Teacher Piya. The next question from Sister Ratna. How long is a world cycle?
Okay. Short answer is very long. The problem in the suttas is the Buddha or no one else ever really gave in actual numbers. It'll be very difficult, okay? But it's given in analogies. One analogy is that of a mountain. It says, imagine there's a mountain 7 miles high, 7 miles wide, 7 miles deep, okay? Actually, it's more like a rock, okay? And there is this deva that comes along once every 100 years, and it takes a little piece of cloth and wipes the mountain, okay? Takes a little bit of it away. And it goes on doing that every 100 years. When the mountain has level, the Buddha says one world cycle has not passed. This is an amazing way of Indian storytelling to show us that it is an amazing long period, one world cycle, but it is still limited in time. It's just that at that time in the development of mathematics, the humans have not been able to like come up with such big numbers that scientists today can, see? Right? So the Buddha used analogy saying that this world cycle is really, really long time. So we do not know the specific time. So it's all in symbols, right? And also the Buddha didn't give specific numbers because it's no use to us anyway. Okay. All right. Next question.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Piya. Next question from Brother Go Hian Kui. Who takes rebirth in the formless world? The non-returners at the pure abodes will attain arahantship at the end of their life.
Yes.
And the hierarchy of the formless world is above the form world.
Yes. No one decides who goes where. It's the karma, the nature of their minds. So because their minds are like that, so when they die, this mind continues to be like that in the next world also. So when they practice formless meditation, then their body passes away, the mind continues in that formless world. That's how it happens. Okay. So same thing among humans. Let's say if a human behaves, is a murderer and he steals things and he rapes people and so on. So it's got this dark idea when it comes out the dark, so very predatory. So although he has a human body, but his mind is like that of a predator. So when he dies, this predating mind, like an animal mind, will look for fierce animals, and they're reborn in that state. So that's how it happens. The mind is reborn. Okay. All right. Any more questions?
Thank you, Teacher Piya. There's a question from Sister Stephanie C.
Sure.
As you have mentioned here that there are 31 realms in total, so as in our dedication, should we mention 6 realms or 31 realms?
We normally say in all the worlds. We don't like specify 31 realms, because we don't have to send loving-kindness to, technically we can send loving-kindness to the non-returners, but they don't need it anyway. So we say the whole world. Oh, there's something wrong in saying 31 planes either. But it's good to reflect. For example, in the lower worlds, they're suffering, and we hope that they will come out with their suffering. So we reflect in that way, a show of goodness and goodwill for us towards all beings. For example, we can help animals, right? So make it practical in that sense. Yeah. When we say, may all beings in all the worlds be well and happy, we're expressing this readiness to help others. Okay. I don't know whether our minds are that strong to send out such wonderful energy throughout the whole universe. Of course, I'm sure some really pious teacher will tell you the mind's powerful, you can cover the whole universe, but we don't know. But the idea is readiness to show compassion. We get ready when we need to extend that hand of compassion. That's the meaning of the practice of loving kindness. Okay. Okay, let's go on.
Thank you, Teacher Piya. Next question from Sister Patricia.
Okay.
Is it always necessary during metta practice to use verbal sentences in your mind, or is it okay to sometimes just focus on the feeling of metta in the mind or body
very
to
good
share
question.
this without thinking about the sentences?
Yeah, very good question. Okay, we start off using words so that we don't get distracted. Just like in breath meditation, we count. Huh? We start off with words to help us. But you don't need words if you are good in it. For example, you remember something beautiful, you're very happy with it, a vision in your mind, a happy moment you had in the garden, or someone did something very kind to you, and you sit and you reflect on that experience. You can also use experience. Sometimes in the meditation class, notice I mentioned, okay, picture yourself in this beautiful garden, or your birthday gathering, somebody is celebrating for you, things like that. It's a bit difficult when you're doing it in a crowd, but individually, yes, you all each have something really that makes you really happy. Use that as your practice. Yes, it's possible. Okay. So in fact, you can do that, and you find that might even work better than using words. So then you do it, see how it goes. And then when you come out of it, you're distracted, then you use words to keep your mind from being distracted. Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Piya. The next question is from Brother Lester T.
Sure.
Does the sense world, like the 33, knows the existence of the form and formless world?
By themselves, unlikely, unless those devas in the higher realm come down and see them, because their knowledge also is limited. In a sense, knowledge-wise, they're like us. Some of them do come and see the Buddha. Some of them do listen to the Dhamma. But otherwise, their knowledge is quite limited. Okay, so we are very much like us. So they may or may not know the existence of the other worlds. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Piya.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more questions in the chat box at the moment.
Okay.
Any brother and sister would like to ask verbal questions, you
Yes,
may
can put up
raise
the
your
hand.
hand and unmute.
We have about 10 minutes more. Yeah, I'm really happy to see you all on this first day of 2022. It's a very amazing crowd now.
I have a question.
Well, this is the third year that we are getting into this COVID thing. So hopefully this year things will improve, right? But the great thing is we have these classes online, which still will go on anyway, as long as you need them. Okay, anyone?
I have a question, Brother
Yes,
Piya.
yeah.
The sense world, it's very familiar with me. It explained in this the turning of the wheel, where a lot of these gods and the Buddha his experience. And then it's this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. It's explained a lot of this Deva world.
Yes. At the end of it, at the end of the sutta. Okay. So what sutta is saying, you can see all those words mentioned at the end of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. But the mention of those gods at the end of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the teaching of the first sermon, is limited. The sutta goes like this: the gods which are earthbound heard the Buddha teaching first time and they're very happy. They say sadhu, oh, the Buddha has taught the Dhamma. And then the gods on the next level heard it, and they also said sadhu, and it goes on like that, up to the form world, but not the formless world. So the formless world, they wouldn't know what's going on. Okay, so it's only up to the form world. Yeah. So if you look at the sutta, you'll find it stops after a while. But there are some monks or editors who got very excited. They put in all the 31 planes. I mean all the higher planes up to the formless world. That is not possible. Okay. Anyway, the Pali text doesn't list all those gods anyway.
That means it's after his enlightenment, and then he described these experiences.
Yes, after his awakening. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other question? 5 more minutes. Yeah, so meantime, if you have special suttas in mind, and I will try to, I'll see if I've translated it and then prepare for it, and we'll study it in this year. No? In fact, when is the next sutta lesson, Ratna? Next week?
It's on the 7th of January, next Friday.
1 week from now,
Yeah.
it'll be the story of Kisa Gotami. We'll put the notes online soon.
The notes already on.
Oh, the notes already online.
WhatsApp. Yeah.
Story of Kisa Gotami, the woman who lost everything, who lost her only child, and how the Buddha helped her.
Teacher Piya, Sister Eckers Chiu just raised her hand.
All right.
Yeah, please ask your
Can
question.
you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I have one question regarding about, just to clarify, that you mentioned free from thoughts and wheels. Does it mean totally absent from it, or is just not attached to?
You're talking about the first jhana, right? Is it the mind is free from thinking and
Yes.
sustained initial thought, sustained thought? In deep meditation, the thoughts are totally gone. This person sits very still, unmoving, so that no thoughts arise. So no thoughts will disturb this person. So here we're talking about the absence of thought here. It's not merely not attached to it. The thoughts do not arise anymore. The mind is totally at peace. So it's a different kind of language here. We're talking about, maybe I can give an example here. Let's say you one day when there's a quiet moment, or maybe even now, you think of a moment when you are really happy, something happened, the most wonderful thing that happened to you, you're waiting for this wonderful event, and then a prize or something, and then you got it. You're so happy, and then someone comes along and asks you, how do you feel? Can you tell us? At first, you will probably say, I don't know what to say. Most people will say, I don't know what to say, right? Because you're so happy, those words do not arise. That means it's really true happiness. Because if you are thinking, you give a long lecture, this is how happy I am. So you're not really happy, you're still thinking, is it? So the moment of great joy, no more thoughts. It's pure joy, we say.
Does it mean that that absence of thoughts actually was overwhelmed by the feelings of joy?
That's one way of putting it, yes. It also means that if the thoughts are present, then you have to attend to the thoughts, and the joy is not complete, is it? You're still interacting with something outside. So the joy is still not complete. That's another way of looking at it too.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Teacher Piya. There's a question from Sister Ratna.
All right.
How do we overcome distracting thoughts during meditation?
Distracting thoughts. Well,
Yes.
Yeah, anything else? That's all, is it?
That's all, sorry.
All right. You have learned a few of these things during our classes, if you remember. One simple way of overcoming distracting thoughts, of course, is to acknowledge it, to take it for what it is. Then you know it's there, and then you social distance yourself. So you let it go. Because if you follow it, then your mind is no more focused on the breath or loving kindness, right? So you label it, smile at it. Smiling is one way of letting go also. So smiling sometimes is enough. If not, then you label it. Depends. For example, you can use a word called thinking, like that. Just say 2-3 times. You're telling your mind this is thinking, don't get attached to it, right? And the mind will let go of it. You are teaching your mind not to run after things that don't matter, that are distracting. Okay, so those are some basic ways of overcoming distraction. Other ways are make sure you prepare yourself well for your sitting, clean yourself, proper place, quiet place. Diet also helps, not eating too much and not too weak, balanced diet, healthy diet, and so on, and keeping yourself warm. If you're in the cold country, you really need to keep yourself warm. Blankets are very important, okay, because you're sitting very still. So have this nice thick blanket, cover your feet also, and there's something to put on the ground so that you don't feel the cold from the ground, right? Of course, it's easier to meditate when it's cold rather than when it's warm. So if you are living in the warm place, then make sure you don't get exposed to heat. Find a cool place, all right? Or a cool time of the day. Okay, so
Thank you, Teacher Piya. There's another questions from Sister Ratna. She's reminding you regarding questions about Arhat and Abhidhamma that she mentioned to you earlier.
Last week, someone asked about Abhidhamma. And I mentioned that I said, I don't encourage people to start learning Abhidhamma first. They should study suttas, have good grounding in suttas. Once you have good grounding in sutta, then we study Abhidhamma, you have a better idea of what it's about. It's like learning space science before you learn general science, okay? And that might not be so troublesome, but learning Abhidhamma first without learning sutta is very troubling, even dangerous, because some people, they get into what's called mana. Mana is arrogance, this idea that you know something, a sense like you're awakened, so you may imagine you're an arahat, or you may behave like an arahat. So I mentioned the word arahat, but not in a Mahayana sense, because she's concerned that people may misunderstand that what I meant was that arahat are all like that. The arahat are all arrogant, they keep away from people, they feel aloof from others. It's not like that. Okay, arahat are very compassionate people. Here I'm talking about when you get into those high states of arrogance, of knowing, oh, I know Abhidhamma and so on, you may have that arahat arrogance. In other words, you think you are so, but you are not. Okay, that can be a real problem. Then you won't progress. Okay, so what I'm saying is, don't take it merely as knowledge. Remember, in Buddhist teachings, whatever we learn is supposed to change us. It's not about knowing more and more. It's about becoming a more peaceful person, about becoming someone who learns to live more happily, more peacefully, more kindly. It's not about knowing more and more of this or that. Of course, it helps to know suttas, know Dhamma, but what happens to you? Are you happier? Are you kinder to people? That's even more important. Okay. All right. So on that note, I think the time has come, right? Unless people have urgent questions, I don't mind answering. Let's see. How is it now?
Okay, thank you very much, Sister Isim and Piya. Meanwhile, can we turn on the cameras?
Oh,
The
yes.
cameras,
Okay,
please?
video. Yeah.
Yes, the video, so that
Yes,
we can
this is
take
the first
photo.
photograph of the year. Okay.
To give a
Right.
very big smile.
Yes.
Okay.
New Year smile.
Okay. Smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
So
Okay, now,
we end the class now.
okay, let us spend this time to close our study, especially in this wonderful new year, 2022. As usual, we have begun by reciting the 3 refuges and 5 precepts, and then we did some meditation, and then we listened to the Dhamma and asked questions or listened to answers. All these are very wonderful practices the Buddha himself encouraged us to do. Remember these 2 hours you've spent, and this will help you in your meditation too. Reflecting in this way, send your kind thoughts to others this year, giving strength to all those people who are living in difficulties. And if you see them needing help, do what you can for them. And also send these good thoughts to yourself so that you yourself are strong, at peace, and enjoy yourself so that you can live happily yourself. And finally, let us remember to show our gratitude to the 3 jewels, the Buddha, our one true teacher, his teaching, and the noble Sangha, who are our exemplars. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Bow down. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Bow down. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Bow down. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, once again, Happy New Year to everyone, everywhere. Yes, happy 2022. So see you all again next week, yeah, for the Sutta class. Okay.
Yes, next Friday,
Right.
8 p.m. same time.
So So don't forget to get the suttas. They're all available online. Okay. Read up on the Kisah Gotama. Okay.